All right, what the hell's going on social media? This is your host, Kip Russell. I am an influencer with nearly 1 million followers on social media. I've been doing this since MySpace space, helping some of the biggest brands in the world, celebrities, all that. Needless to say, I live and breathe this stuff, and I am sharing with you guys the news that I care about in the social media space. It's been wilder than ever. We have a lot to cover. The first big story is the TikTok ban. TikTok CEO obviously spoke in front of Congress last week, and I don't want to dive into the semantics of that. I think all of you guys out there can go digest it. We all have lots of opinions. I have 800,000 followers on TikTok, so I am, just like many of you, very concerned if they ban the app. I do understand stepping back and understanding different sides. If you go to China, there's not one U.S. social media site allowed there, whether that's for the reasons of privacy, and really they know that you can really spy on people's phones and turn on microphones, etc. If that app is on people's phones, there's a lot of things. There's propaganda through these channels that we all know that these apps are playing a part in, just like traditional media and news played a part in it back in the day. But I was just looking at a couple things just to share with you guys some context for both sides of the perspective of the situation. While I don't want to see TikTok get banned, I do think the reality is something dramatic will happen this year. Chinese government is saying they really are committed to not selling. They're trying to basically make that feel like it's a no-go to get the public pressure to keep the app, and everything in ByteDance's hands. But I do think it's going to be inevitable this year. And why is, if you look at a list of blocked websites in China, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Quora, pretty much anything US is not allowed in China. I'm sure that's a lot to do with propaganda and spying and etc. Probably a lot of the same concerns that we have with TikTok being here. And I think they did a decent job at saying they're not doing anything, and that basically all of TikTok is now based in the US. I think they were saying U.S. staff and U.S. personnel and a U.S. company now. I don't know if they'll believe that, and I also think this is a bigger geopolitical aspect with the war and China looking like they're supporting Putin and trying to get more alliances and trying to become the dominant power in the world. I just think this is just part of the bigger game. It's U.S. versus China right now, and it's just an app that's going to get caught up in the turmoil. So I want to give you guys a perspective of what you should do. I mean, I've been at this game a long time. I've seen social media apps. I had hundreds of thousands of followers on MySpace go away and was very slow to pushing people to Facebook. So I think I would like to give you guys a couple pieces of advice. And I know you're young, if you're watching this, or you're a creator, or this is your first time. A lot of us on TikTok, this is our first time becoming monster influencers or having even 20 or 30,000 followers, because the app did a lot of things right. We'll get into this later in the episode, is why TikTok really changed the game. And I do think it was user first, and I think it's struggling to continue that momentum. Meaning, and everyone was getting exposed, content was going, wild. Now there's just so much saturation, and you're seeing more ads, space going, money going to, inventory going to ads. It's just going to be a tougher time to grow on TikTok. But here's what you should be doing: you should be pinning a comment on every TikTok post saying, "Hey, if you like this content." With the TikTok ban, maybe follow me on Instagram or YouTube Shorts, wherever you think you're going to be more dominant. I think Instagram Reels is a perfectly viable backup right now. I do think YouTube Shorts has the longer tail, better potential for you as a creator and revenue-wise. I think you should be adding a link in your bio to be collecting emails, and again, suggesting in some of your content, even if it feels unnatural. Hey, this might happen. Please follow me on this, or click the link in my bio and subscribe to my newsletter. If you're a live streamer, maybe Twitch is the right platform for you. So start, doing your live TikToks and talking to people about joining us on Twitch, because this might happen. The 150 million people that are on TikTok, they do know that it could be inevitable that the app goes this year. So you really need to be doing that. You should be monitoring the news. This might happen overnight. This might happen by the end of the year. This might happen next year. But I definitely think you need to be paying attention, or follow my channel, because I will be keeping you updated as fast as possible on all the news going on with TikTok. And I just think it's a tough time. It's a game-changing time, and this podcast is just basically what the hell's going on social media, or what the F really. It's just never always going to change. I've been around. I've seen, when Twitter was the big player, when it came out, when Gary Vee was on it, and all that other stuff. And you just need to be prepared. You need to realize that if you're having success on one channel, you need to be able to push it the other way. Just like Vine. And again, I like to joke MySpace. Vine was a monster, and a lot of the Viners weren't making money. Vine wasn't paying creators, and it got bought by Twitter. For some reason, they killed it off, which sucks, because that could have been their literally game changer long term. And we'll dive into why even Vine was successful in the next part of this video. But you need to be moving people off TikTok onto your other channels. It's going to be inevitable. I do think the two places I really like is Is Instagram Reels, hopefully they'll get back to rev share. They did say they stopped the creator fund, which was great. I think it was the only reason I was posting on Instagram and was bringing me back to the channel was the creator fund. But I do think they're going to go to a rev share at some point. It's inevitable, or Facebook and Instagram probably die. YouTube Shorts. I think YouTube and YouTube Shorts, that actually is really where this game is going. Interest-based content, micro content being the shorts, feeding to your pillar content, which is either longer form or some other version, or if you're just going to be a shorts creator and you like the 60-second format, stick with that. There's still insane amount of upside on shorts. That's why I'm doing this whole show. I'm actually focused on shorts right now, even though I have almost 800,000 followers, on TikTok. So I hope it helps. I know this is going to be a tough time for all you guys, but lots more to talk about in social media. We really got to talk about what Gary Vee just said in one of his latest podcasts on really what is going on and how you can be successful in social media in 2023. And it's a lot tougher than you think, but I think this is the most practical advice I can give you guys. If you haven't really understood the change and that dramatic shift in the people that are winning now, it's literally Gary Vee 2.0. Everything he was saying 5 or 6 years ago is actually just really alive and true today. And what that means is, as soon as TikTok exposed that watch time was the KPI, meaning most people on these social networks are lurkers. So if your content had a good hook, got somebody to watch, once they were on that content, they went to the next side. So speed of the news feed, they went to the next, they swiped up. Speed of the news feed brought me in something else that was potentially I was interested in or entertaining to me. It provided me value, kept the dopamine, kept people in the timeline, because it became, again, I call it the gateway drug of information, valuable content, and you're finding people that are providing value in your life, whether it's entertainment or education. So TikTok exposed the lurkers, and then it incentivized everybody to make content, and it made it very easy for your content to go viral, and it gave the news feedback to the creators and new creators, and ultimately became a casino that most people could get in and initially have some success in. It's getting tougher now as it gets saturated and as they have just more turmoil in the country. But why do people like TikTok? It's because it created a whole new breed of creators, just like Vine, where Facebook and Instagram were basically becoming pay to play, and they were just killing off the incentive to get into the business, and it was making it tough, and most brands were just relying on pay to play and buying followers and things like that. So it became the wrong priority, where the user is ultimately the priority. It became about the money, it became about everything basically typical social media now, where TikTok felt like it was user generated and it was about the creators, it was about giving the little guy and the everyday person the voice. And while it's still losing that, and that's where Reels and Shorts and YouTube really always had that. Again, harder to get into YouTube back in the day because long form content was tough. This is really where it's all going. So now, if you understand the shift, I'm going to get into what Gary Vee said, is we're moving from the social graph, the follower based, and followers are still important, but followers are not as important as they used to be, because the content now wins. With watch time, if you post something, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts, they're going to put your content out in front of enough people. If it does well, they're going to serve it to more and let it go and go and go, and then serve it to people that are interested in it. So the content ultimately wins. You have to continue to push on those viral formats, or not even viral, to get your content to go 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people. You just need to provide value, be yourself, be authentic. And again, what Gary Vee is saying is that you have to do two things to win now in social media. And really, the ones that are going to win in the next 5 to 10 years are the ones cranking out 10 to really 20 pieces. I think he even said 12 to 15 pieces of content a day on all of these channels. And everyone's going to go, oh, whoa, laugh. But if you do see a lot of the new influencers in the space, Alex Ramosis, Lewis Howes, all these people that have kind of been around, they are basically getting teams to take their long form content, their interviews and different things, and chop them up into gated, gateway drug content. And it used to be you could do once in a while posting. Now it's about consistently posting, because you're not saturating your followers. You're going into a discovery engine on Instagram or YouTube, or the For You page as they call it on Twitter, and all the other actions, and it's just going to an infinite amount of people interested in your content. So you need to feed the beast more than ever, and that is either something your brand or business or your personal self is going to be committed to, or you're not. So then you're going to have to do the other thing, which is pay to get in front of enough people to drive your business results. And while that's always been around, been around for a long time, it's just getting harder, and the content within those ads needs to be better and better. So the only way to win, according to Gary Vee, is to be scaling that organic content, or again, you're just gonna have to continue to pay to play, which is getting tougher on all these networks across the board. Some of the underpriced attention spaces Gary mentioned in the same breath of this is Facebook Reels, which Facebook has the scale, still the biggest scale of users. So, and not a lot of people posting to Facebook Reels. Advertisers are obviously slowing down on the network, so you have a lot more opportunity to capture news feed, so double down on your Facebook Reels. He also mentioned TikTok ads as underpriced right now because a lot of advertisers have pulled off. Consumption's still high, that you have an opportunity to, and then you got to put a link in that copy to win there. So I hope that helped. Gary Vee, obviously the master. I pretty much feel like I learned almost everything I know back in the day about social, and then have obviously just a practitioner myself. We have to talk about how influencer marketing has changed in the last 10 years. I got in super early. I was the social marketing director for Elise Paris, which was a prime manufacturer back in 2011 to 2015. So way before influencer was tried and true. I even worked with what used to be called Instagram. I think they're Open Influence now. They were like one of the first influencer marketing companies. But really in the beginning, I was just going directly to Viners, directly to Instagram people, to YouTubers, and cutting deals. These people had millions of followers and were doing things for free product back in the day. The game really has changed. We were building long-term relationships, working with consistent influencers that owned our audience. There used to be niche accounts we were working with back in the day, and you really had an ability to do maybe 7 to 10 influencers and have a lot of horsepower in terms of they would post and grow your channels, and then you would have these really reciprocal relationships. I do think the game is really split now into two different areas. Now that we're much more mature, influencers that are doing this for a living have become very expensive if they're or they just don't understand pricing. And there's so many influencers in the game. They're slow to respond. There's so many tools. It just really evolved. So influencers are going to two things. You need either creators, UGC creators, that make basically they have 10,000 followers. They're very affordable. You can cut deals with them, but you like their creative to help you make organic content. They don't even need to post it to the channels. You really just need people part of your team. Maybe it's 1 to 5, maybe it's up to 10. I'm seeing some brands do deals with advertising agencies, like smaller ones that are doing, hey, we'll guarantee you 90 pieces of creative in 90 days, and that gives you enough content for your ads to test, and also gives you enough content for your organic channels. And then there's influencer deals, and these are becoming more expensive and harder to execute than they ever before, when you're seeing people at 10,000 followers asking for $2,000, at $1,000 followers asking for $2,000, and then at $1 million, people's prices are all over the map. Most people are overpricing themselves, especially in this economy, but more is really you need to have entry-level prices to build relationships with brands, and then either go for contracts, or you need to, and I'm an influencer myself, so I'm just telling you guys what I'm seeing works, having that entry-level price, kind of building relationships, getting more either 3-month contracts or yearly contracts, or if you're trying to get that one-off deal because you're just not doing a lot, and you need the money, it's just getting harder and harder for brands to justify paying that, because they're not seeing the same like growth in followers from your post, especially if you go into Reels and TikTok. It's more of a content play. So taking a step back, if you're a brand, you need to think about, what do you really want to work with? Do you want to work with creators that are making you more affordable content, but maybe lots of it to help seed your organic channels? Or are you working with influencers that are more polished content creators? They're more expensive, but ultimately you want them to post to their channels for that awareness. You might be whitelisting, which is basically they give you access, or Spark ads on TikTok. They give you access to their accounts so you can run ads from them. We are seeing that do great in e-commerce and lead gen. But really know your goals and really understand what's more important. I think the creator campaigns are going to have more value in the short term to most brands, where you're looking for scale of content, because it's so hard to make good content. And brands, we'll talk about this in the next section, are just really terrible now at creative, because strategies that worked even 2 years ago are really outdated on social networks, as this moves to more of a discovery engine for you page and less about your followers. Lots of brands have good followers, they've invested in years. It's more about the content winning now, so you have to really think about your strategies and either commit to that quality content or partner with creators. I've seen some really cool companies like a Morning Brew partnered with a comedian who just makes really fun stuff contextual to his audience. So lots to do. I hope you learn from that. Pick out which one makes the most sense for you. I would even start to think of creators as an extension of your creative team. That money can come from production budgets versus media budgets. or vice versa, depending on your goals. And I really think you need to look at having, whether it's 1 to 5 or 5 to 10 creators creating content for you consistently that you weave within your organic channels. We have to talk about Twitter Blue. Finally, Elon has announced that in the coming weeks, Twitter will prioritize replies by people you follow, verified accounts, and then unverified accounts. So verified accounts are 1,000 times harder to game by bot and troll armies. This is great wisdom to the old saying, you get what you pay for. So I'm actually part of Twitter Blue. I will say one thing, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Twitter Down or Twitter X. I have not seen anything but a great experience. I like the For You page on Twitter now. It's a little bit maybe too heavy based on who I follow, but I definitely think that the experience is getting better, and I'm a Twitter Blue. It's at a price point I think worth paying for me. I consider myself someone, I'm a pro in social, so I need to understand how these things work and who to recommend them for. So let's jump, kind of segueing from that Twitter Blue. If you are on Twitter, I don't think, unless you're a power user on Twitter, this is like more like a career play for you. You don't need to get into Twitter Blue. Twitter Blue is for people, and we'll talk about Meta Verified right now. It's for the serious committed. It's for brands. It's for creators. It's for news people, and it's a way. I think that honestly, I would have made this for businesses, and I would have made a version of this for celebrities a long time ago. And I think it's actually a smart thing. You get the continuity from them. Some of these people are going to run ads anyways, but these people really just need access to issues with accounts. They need to know people to know who they are. They're notable, and I definitely think it works for like lots of businesses out there. You guys that totally should be verified, just can't get verified. They're in stores, they're in Walmarts, they're different things. They're $20 million, $100 million business, and you couldn't get them verified. It was a crapshoot. So I do think there's a version of this but I don't think the everyday user, any of these paid versions are for you unless you really want to get more out of the channel. So Meta Verified is now rolling out in the US, and I just want to get into reading it off the back. It's way too expensive, I would say, Meta's. But again, it's not for me. It's not for you. This is for, again, someone who can really afford to pay $14 a month. Well, I'd rather pay for Netflix. This stuff is for who they want it for, the people that can afford it and that are really power users and rely on these networks to build businesses or build their own, creator fund. So maybe you become an influencer at some point, you're making 6, 7, 8 figures, and this just becomes part of your software because you need that verification, you want the added benefits, you want the access to direct reps, and you want the credibility, and lastly, you want the added visibility if it comes with that, which I think they should definitely do. And what Elon is saying is that visibility is 100% part of the package by just showing up as basically beyond people you follow, you're the second, person they're going to see in these comments, and there's some added value to that. I'm sure that it'll blend into the newsfeed at some point. So just understand who this is for. They're trying to get continuity from people that can afford it, from brands that can afford it, from businesses that want that verification, because to them it is important. I can't tell you as a social media director how many people I've worked with that have begged us to get them verified, and we have reps and direct reps, and it's hard for them to get it pushed through too. And I think this is, at least for certain brands, creators, and public figures, I think a good thing, and I think it's not for the average everyday user, so you don't need to worry about it. I hope you learned a lot from today. Follow me if you got some value. Heart, comment if you want any more information on different things going on in social media. Follow me on other channels. I mostly post this stuff on YouTube for now, but I will be syndicating to all my other channels as I figure out how to weave it within all the other things I do. But appreciate your time. Later.